Hey, happy Friday. It's your girl, ShyRosalindNDB. How's everybody doing? It's Friday. We made it. So yeah, excuse the hair. I tried to give myself a haircut. Big mistake. I should have just dragged myself to the barber, but you know, I was trying to save some money. But anyway, anyhow, um, welcome. This is an episode of the Caregiving Chronicles. Um, as just about all of you know, I was the main caregiver to my mother for over 10 years, from 2016 until January of this year. My mother developed Alzheimer's dementia. It was a long, winding road. Getting care for her and for myself, because as you guys know from the chemo life, I was battling cancer pretty much at the same time I was trying to handle her care. So it was a double whammy. But I am at the moment cancer free. I talked about that on my chemo life. I did an episode the other day. Ups and downs, ins and outs, medicine working, but working too well. So I have other side effects going on. So it's a balancing act, a bunch of adjustments. But anyway, my caregiving journey was officially 10 years. Mommy was, or Her Majesty, was officially diagnosed in 2017, but her symptoms began in 2016, possibly the end of 2015, going through her, I found her medical records the other day, so I was going through them, and she may have been exhibiting signs from 2015. So it was probably a little over 10 years. I've had, like I said, ups and downs. Had to give up a full-time career, I guess, in the healthcare field. But, and it went from that to burning through my retirement savings, which was substantial, but I burned through it. And, there's a lot of legal stuff that was going on. And, luckily, as I think I've mentioned before, my mother was a planner. She had all her papers in order. So she had her will, her power of attorney, her healthcare proxy, her DNR. She had all of that set up way in advance. So it did make things a little easier at the end. I did not have to scramble to do anything. The only thing that I had to truly take care of at the end of it, towards the end of it, was switch Mom, or Her Majesty, switch her from being my brother's payee, representative payee, to me, because my brother, who I am his caregiver as well, has a mental disability. He attends a program. He cannot work. So I'm handling. Now I was always his standby guardian anyway. So it's a matter of just submitting the paperwork and getting that done. And that was pretty much one of the last things I had to do before she passed. Got it done, no problem. So this series was basically talking about the things I had to go through, the ups and downs, folks that truly helped, people that may have ripped us off, and learning as I go. So, today is a little bit of an update. Her Majesty's legal affairs are almost done. I have one item left to take care of. Well, two items left to take care of, and that's it officially. I did start attempting to clean out some of the house, but I'm going to have to bring in a professional, and I'll talk about that when the time comes. That will be an episode in the series. And I'm just been trying to, my body is still recovering, because your body does need to recover when you have been caregiving for a certain amount of time. And And especially if you're battling your own health conditions, and when that caregiving technically ends with the person passing, your body needs time to recover. So it took about 6 months. It's at the 6 month mark now. I am just starting to be able to sleep most of the night. I do have to sleep with the radio on. I cannot, it's just too quiet. I cannot do it unless I have some kind of white noise, background noise. That's really the only way I can sleep. I've been working here on the first floor in my mom's old sewing room. Some days I'm in my office, I'm good, and some days I just don't feel like being in my office, so I come downstairs during the day. So it's kind of a back and forth. I have not done my bereavement counseling session yet. I don't know why I keep putting it off. Maybe I'll decide I really don't need it. I wanted to do at least one session. It's free, by the way, especially if your loved one was on hospice, depending on who you use. We used VNS, and they do offer hospice, not hospice, bereavement counseling up to, I believe, 1 year after the person's passed. And I still have yet to use it. And I've been finding a lot of comfort catching up on my favorite YouTube creators and getting into all the craziness, which y'all can catch me talking about that on Notes from the Audience. But it's been a mix, good, bad, I unfortunately am about to start fighting with someone that I had hired based on a project that they did in my house. The first project was perfect. I had my bathroom redone. It looks great. I enjoy it. I love my massaging shower head. I love it. I love it. The same person was supposed to do a second project for me, and we are now having issues. I paid for the material, and I made the mistake of paying part of the labor. The job was on pause during the winter because obviously they can't do outside work when it's snow and cold and all that. I have been given 4 different dates. Was supposed to resume the job, was supposed to be done after Easter. Then they were talking about Memorial Day. We are now mid-June. The person was supposed to come last week to start the job, and so I'm weighing my options about what to do at this point. So yeah. And things are tight. I am now on disability, which is a godsend in and of itself. I do still have my part-time gig that I work with a client and I help them with their medical billing. So I do have a little income coming in, but ouch. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster. And I'm finally starting to get in the mood to do my jewelry again. Y'all can check out Beat in Chat. I did a project the other day. I finished another one. I have a short. So, and the store is open. Hint, hint, shameless plug. PondsEdgeDesigns.net. But I've been taking comfort in seeing my content creators do their thing and be silly and talk about all the foolishness that's going on in the world, and it has been a great comfort to me. So today it's kind of a up and down. The up part is one of my cousins reached out to me. Now my cousin, without saying too much, handled my aunt and uncle's caregiving pretty much by herself. First, it was for her mom, my aunt, and that was several years. She had Alzheimer's, pretty much, well, not quite the same as what mom had, but she had the decline in the whole bit. And then after my aunt passed, my uncle was a slightly more, his brain was a little more sharp, but she took care of him for another, I think it was another 2 years or 3 after my aunt passed. And she had to handle them pretty much on her own. She had to go through hiring aides. She's in another state, so things are different. She had to go through hiring aides, supplies, when they had to go in for anything in a nursing home or whatever, she was the one handling it. Now, there are other brothers and sisters, so everyone kind of chipped in their own way. But she was pretty much taking the brunt of it. But it wasn't, usually when some caregivers have siblings, there's always that one sibling that ends up taking care of everything and the other siblings disappear. That was not the case with this particular cousin. My other cousins did not completely disappear. So she called me the other day, and she asked me if I was interested in helping her become a caregiver coach. So, without giving away too much of it, because nothing's final yet, but basically, she's forming a group of people with different skills to assist new caregivers and current caregivers with certain aspects of caregiving. So, she asked me if I would be willing to help with the insurance and financial stuff. Like, well, I don't want to give too much of it away because she's still working on it. But basically, the financial things that caregivers would have issues with. And those of you out there know, well, insurance is number one, and just monitoring expenses. So those would be like the two main things. So, my Rolodex is still open. I still have people asking, hey, your mom was on hospice. Who did they use? Did you like this? Did you go to use this nursing home before? Did you ever use them? And, I think I have discussed nursing home respite before, and our experience was not that great. I think I've mentioned this in a previous episode, but basically, looks can be deceiving. I'll just put it that way. But that's a different episode. What else? So my caregiving phase, like I said, I'm still caregiving for my brother, so. But the phase of the mom part is starting to shift a little bit. So at some point, I will be helping or potentially coaching other caregivers on what to do and helping them focus on what they could need help with. So a few little statistics to round this out, and I'm just gonna pull up my handy dandy. Yeah, I have my laptop right in front of me. Stats. Because I think I talked about this before, but it's time for an update. So, as of, let's see, what date? Because I think last time I did this was several years ago. So I wanted to give an update for 2025. And if this will cooperate, there we go. So this is according to AARP. As of for 2025, come on. Okay. So according to AARP, which is a pretty trustworthy source, and there are other sources out there, but AARP they released their 2025 edition of Caregiving in the United States. And according to this report, 63 million Americans are now caregiving for a family member or a friend. It's a 50% increase since 2015, so the past 10 years. Let's see what else. Come on. Oh, my laptop. There we go. So some of the key findings they're pulling that they have mentioned. Go away. There we go. So basically, 1 in every 4 adults is a caregiver, either for a family member or a friend. 1 in 3 are under the age of 50. They said that as far as caregivers, there's a lot of diversity between race, income, and generation. But 29%, almost 1/3, are what they call the sandwich generation. So it's someone who has children, probably under the age, I think it's under the age of 20, but then they also have aging adults. So the beginning of I guess it would be like a Generation X or millennial Gen X are now taking care of the boomers, because those are their parents, or possibly silent generation grandparents, and then they also have kids they have to worry about. And at this point, as of 2025, 40% of caregivers are providing what's considered high-intensity care. So that's giving injections, monitoring equipment like oxygen, what's the other machine called? There's a machine that clears a person's throat, monitoring their drugs, and only 22% of the 40%, so we're starting with 60 million people, approximately 30 million are doing high-intensity care, which means they're monitoring injections, feeding tubes, colostomy stuff, incontinence stuff, oxygen. So we're talking 40% of 60 million. However, only 20% of those people get any kind of training. So basically, they might send a home nurse a couple of times to show you how to change this stuff out, and after that, you're on your own. One in 5 caregivers, so we're talking about 20%, report poor health. So if you're a caregiver, there is a chance that you probably have your own health issues to take care of. Some are, and they're saying that a quarter of caregivers, so we're talking about 60 million, take a quarter of those, so we're talking about 15 million, can barely afford or need assistance with food and shelter. Because remember, if your loved one needs 7-day-a-week care, and you might get maybe 8 hours of care through insurance a day, maybe, if you're lucky, How you gonna work? You can't. How you supposed to get income? You know, and even if you work from home, you need to have a specific time where you can concentrate on your job. But if your loved one has to be taken to the bathroom 4 or 5 times a day, morning, afternoon, and in the evening, and never mind overnight, you're screwed. And that's kind of what happened with me. I had to stop working. I went from full-time to part-time, and then I had to stop altogether. I had retirement savings that got spent because I had to keep up the house. And then I couldn't work anymore. So I got very, very fortunate to a former coworker opened her own practice, and she does not work out. She doesn't have an office. Like, it's not a storefront. So it was perfect because I could do what I needed to do from home, and I still do. I still work with her. And I was fortunate. I had two former coworkers. And I was helping them with their billing. So I had a little extra thing coming, some little money coming in. And then I got the big C. So that made things like a huge scramble. And fortunately, I was able to access my mother's funds, luckily. So I was able to kind of juggle the bills and keep the bills paid, but it wasn't easy, y'all. Wasn't easy. But anyway, 7 in 10 family caregivers are still employed, but face disruptions and lack access to supportive benefits. Especially the 18 million workers who are hourly. And the minimum wage varies. Some states are paying, 12 an hour, 15 an hour, 20 an hour. But as we all know, that doesn't really do anything now, especially now. So you can imagine. The one program that seems to be working is home caregivers, family members, or neighbors actually getting paid to be a caregiver through Medicaid. So, and it varies from state to state. The patient has to be on Medicaid. The person who's doing the caregiving has to participate and be trained, which is actually a good thing. They have to go through a training, and then you start getting paid. It's not much. From what I've heard, I couldn't qualify for that program because I was my mother's power of attorney and the executor of her will. So in my state, I'm not allowed to participate in that kind of a program because I'm already in charge of her finances, so they weren't gonna pay. But for those who qualify, it can be a help. And those who are that get through, who are qualified for that program is about 11. According to AARP, about 11 million caregivers do get some compensation through Medicaid, and it varies by state. And those caregivers are most likely to be younger, lower income, and diverse background. So let's see what else I gotta say that's interesting. So those are the key findings for 2025. This was published in July of 2025. So I know the last one I talked about, I think, was 2021. I'm just seeing if there's any there's something else too. I just want to share one other thing with you guys. Caregiving. Oh, okay, stats. The average caregiver is about 49 years old. Women, of course, make up about 60% of the caregivers. No surprise. And I'm going to find... this thing does not want to... Here we go. Oh, okay. So we're going to do... Okay, I'm going to go to the Center for Retirement Research, and I will mention them in the description. But and this is the Center for Retirement Research. They're based out of Boston College, and according to their report, which was published in January, their estimate is between 38 to 59 million people are caregivers, which is about, AARP says 60, so it's about the same. And they're saying the younger caregivers are usually taking care of a grandparent. Middle-aged caregivers like myself were taking care of a parent. And then some... It's interesting. It doesn't say anything about spouses. That's interesting. Let's see. And they this report also quotes the AARP report that I just talked about. And oh, okay. So they have a chart, and according to the chart, about 29% of people who are caregivers to someone for 10 years or more. And that's in 2025. It was 24% in 2015. That's a big jump. And then at the moment, the highest percentage they have on their chart, 28%, give or take, have been doing caregiving from 1 to 4 years. That's a lot of people. And 25% are less than 6 months. So there are a lot of people who are just starting this journey. And they also mention remote recording devices like cameras in the home. That went up. That went up from 13% in 2020 to 25%. So basically, 1/4 of people who are caring for a loved one or a family member, or maybe even a friend or a neighbor, and those who are able to use monitoring devices, because if it's a neighbor, you may not want to put a monitoring device in the home, but if it's a loved one, yeah, you probably do. That jumped. It went from 13% to 25%. So about 1/4 of the people who are family caregivers are, as of 2025, are using some kind of device. So it's a camera, either inside the home or outside the home, or a life alert, something like that. That's a big jump. So, and as AARP mentioned as well, about 56% of people who are employed have either had to take days off or go on leave. And of course, we all know FMLA does not guarantee you're going to get your job back. Some companies don't even offer it, depending on how big or small they are. And those who do, let's be real. Let's be real for a second. You get the FMLA, right? Because it's a federal thing, and if the company is large enough, yes, you're entitled to it. However, the chances that the company is going to even try to bring you back in when things calm down, and we all know how that's going to be. If you're working for a company that's less than 50 employees, you're going to get, you might as well quit. you might as well quit. Because you're not going to get paid. You're not going to get the leave time at all. You have to use up whatever PTO you have. And after that, you're done. I mean, that's just how it is. We all know. So basically, we need more, and I'm saying we because I'm still a caregiver, but we need more support. Like, government support is always nice because government support is a little more reliable. And we need to support each other, which is part of what my cousin's thinking of doing with her project. And honestly, a lot of us caregivers who have, what does she call it? She called it, not transition, but the Godspeed phase is what she called it. Those of us who are in that, like, okay, our loved one has transitioned, or the person we were caring for has transitioned, and we're still in the recovery stage, but it's like, okay, what do we do now? Some of us, I'm like, naps. I take my nap in the afternoon. I'll listen to Marcellus, I'll do some work, and then I'll take a nap. And then I get back up and finish my work for the day. So I'm enjoying my naps. But some of us, it's like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? You're looking for something to do. So some of us are in one stage or the other. So that's kind of the state of caregiving at the moment. And I'm trying to think, should I even, is that a private live? Shit. I can't get into the details, but I was participating in a private chat, and the person running the channel prayed for me, which I appreciate. You know who you are. And they mentioned that they saw me moving into some kind of program or some kind of not a continuance of the caregiving, but a guidance, so to speak. That's what they saw for me. So you know who you are, and you were right. So if this project comes to fruition, which I think it will, if this project comes to fruition, I know I'm saying it wrong. Yo, you were right, and you know who you are. You prophesied, and you actually got it right. Now, I'm not a big prophecy person. I'm not. I'm not a big prophecy person because there are too many people out there wanting for prophecy, but that's a discussion for a different day. But sir, you were right on the money. So that's what's going on. I do have to get something to munch on, and I actually do have some work to do. So I'm going to do that. But I hope this information was helpful. I will put the links for the AARP and the other page I mentioned. I'll put the links in there so you guys can go and look for yourself and do some exploring. If you have general questions about caregiving, and throw me a comment. I'm happy to help in any way I can. If I know the answer, I know the answer. If I don't, I don't. Of course, as always, this is not any kind of medical, legal, or accounting advice, because I am not a clinical I'm not a clinical professional. I'm not a CPA. And I am sure as heck not an attorney. So all I can offer is general guidelines. Y'all have to look for things yourself. Critical thinking is fundamental, and so is reading. So I encourage everyone to do so. And yeah, but if this helps somebody, share. Likes are free. Subscribers, and some of you are new. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Subscribers are always appreciated. Polite, respectful questions are always appreciated, and I will try to answer them as best I can. And yeah, so that's my update. I will let you guys know if this project truly comes to fruition. I will let you guys know. And I'll let you guys know what happens with the contractor that's trying to screw me over. And I might be getting I'm gonna try and make this little mini update brief. I have someone that was taking care of my mom, and I think I did mention this on a previous episode. I was getting overcharged, and that relationship ended because mom ended up moving to Medicaid, and they kind of took everything over, and money ran out, and the person was not thrilled that the money ran out. So they've been helping me with my brother. Now, my brother does not need that deep care. It's literally once every 6 weeks. He has someone through Medicaid that comes in, stays with him, and then I had this person come in the afternoons because I have to go to chemo. I still go to chemo every 6 weeks, so I still have to have somebody here for him. So the I did ask at one point, what do I owe you? And they said, oh, don't worry about it. This is when mommy first, Her Majesty first passed, and everything, all the arrangements were going on, and I had to go to the funeral home. I had to run to the church and all that stuff. And they, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you need help with your brother, let me know. Okay, fine. So I did call on them a couple of times, but never got a bill. And mind you, it wasn't the two longest periods of time were the viewing, because I had to be there for a few hours, and the funeral, which took a few hours. So other than that, it was no more than 2 hours at a clip that I needed help with. I got a text. Oh, I have to send you an invoice. Because this person sent the viewing and the funeral. They sent someone else to sit with my brother. I'm assuming those people want to get paid. And I had asked, what do I owe you? So 6 months later, I get a text. Oh, I have to send you an invoice. And this person just, well, I can't say that because I don't want to give too much away, but yeah. 6 months later. Now let me give you a comparison. The agency that originally took care of mom, the agency that was sending people 5 days a week, and then once Her Majesty was on Medicaid, it got bumped up to 7 days a week. That agency, technically, I still owe them for, I think it's 3 weeks that I got invoices for. I got those invoices ages ago, but money ran out. So I paid what I could, but it's about 3 weeks worth of care that I still have to, when things are settled, I gotta make sure they get paid. But I haven't heard from them. Didn't ask for the money now one time. And now I got 6 months after Her Majesty's passing. Oh, I'm going to send you an invoice. So I said, email it to me. I'm still waiting for the email. I can't wait to see what I'm going to be charged. Don't tell someone, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you out? And then you go. Don't say that. Don't tell people you're going to help them and then turn around and... Now, I understand after the funeral and the sessions that I asked for them to come and help with my brother. I get that. I was mentally prepared. I'm like, how come she hasn't billed me for these? Because I'm like, it's still like about 3 hours, Yes, I expect to be billed. I'm expecting to be billed for this. But the viewing and the funeral, after, what can we do? How can we help you? Do you need someone to stay with your brother? What can we do for you? And then you're about to bill me for it. I cannot wait to see the bill. I can't wait to see it. Now, I'll let you guys know what happens with that. But that's also part of the journey of caregiving. It's not truly over until the last bill is paid. But anyhow, let me get going because I got to get something to eat. And I do have to do some work even though it's Friday. And I don't know if Marcellus is on today. So I want to make sure I catch that. But anyhow, we'll see you guys on the next one. And y'all keep praying for me. I will keep praying for y'all. And the next I think the next episode of Notes from the Audience is going to be I'm going to talk about the patron saints of content creators. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I might go live. So, but y'all know. I'll talk to you soon.